and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris and you're watching The Future is Female. This is the show where we find the extraordinary in every woman. Now, entrusting your child into the hands of another, even if it's just for a few hours, is not an easy decision to make. And this is particularly true for mothers who often shoulder the burden of childcare arrangements. More often than not, mothers end up leaving their children in the hands of the neighborhood kakak or the rumah pengasuh that they found on Facebook, even if that's not their ideal choice. Now, these home-based babysitters are likely to be one of the more than 1,000 unregistered childcare centres in Malaysia, and despite their less than stellar safety track record, unlicensed babysitters remain one of the few options that parents have that are likely within the vicinity of their home and they can take care of their children till late in the evening or even on short notice. So to provide parents with another choice, Kiddocare was founded in 2018 with the aim of connecting parents with trained child carers. I'm delighted to introduce my guest today. She's the co-founder of Kiddocare, Muhaini Mahmud. Muhaini, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I am so curious now. I love that you're providing parents with another option. The more options, the better given to parents. And I understand that you've started Kiddocare with your co-founder Nadira Yusuf. Tell me a little bit more about that. How did the idea for the business come about?
Okay, this is actually there's a fun fact, to how it all started. Because previously I was working in the corporate world for 14 years, and my partner Nadira, she has always been an entrepreneur from the beginning. So it's actually my first time. So this is really, we tell this to everyone. The idea came up because there was this one time, Nadira, she actually forgot to pick up her child from the nursery. Honestly, because she's
Okay.
a working mom, she's a working mom, and then she was at work and she only realized when the teacher called her, to tell her, Kak, tak nak ambil ke anak? you know, so honestly, that was how the idea came up. And then at that time, coincidentally, I was a single mom. I just got out of divorce. I was a single mom to a 2-year-old child. So Nadira came up to me with the idea of setting up Kiddocare. And obviously, it didn't take very long for me to take it up because, like I said earlier, I was already, being in the corporate world for 14 years, I was already at a saturation point personally in my career. And I really like the idea of helping out fellow mothers with
Right.
childcare needs at
I,
work
I
because I have them too.
I think that's quite interesting, and I love that you shared that story because it's so relatable. You're a busy working mom, you have so many things on your mind, and when you're at work, you're in the zone. You're thinking about how to achieve what you need to achieve for the day. Tell me about that, what the challenges are with existing childcare providers, because again, that they close at a certain time, they're waiting for you to pick up their child. Some childcare providers even impose a penalty if you're late to pick up your child, which can often add to the stress of being a working parent, particularly in the city where you're battling traffic and the commute and all other stresses in your life. What did you realize was the gap in the childcare service market that you thought Kiddocare could address?
Yeah, this is where we come in, and our tagline explains it. Our tagline for the Kiddocare is babysitters anytime, anywhere. See, what we want everyone to understand is we are not competing with all the kindergartens. We're not competing with all the child carers, pengasuh di rumah. We're not competing. It's more about complementing. We are providing, if we can complement each other, that's just a great, there's just a great way to move forward. So with that, we can help parents. So all these schools, taska, pengasuh di rumah, yes, they have a cut off time, 9 to 5. But sometimes I'll give an example, like doctors, nurses, they're on call. They have to work at odd hours. And it can be anything. Sometimes your boss calls you for some emergency meeting, right? And especially on weekends, they close on weekends. So this is where Kiddocare comes in, because we provide our service. Our service is 24/7. We operate every day, anytime, anywhere.
Okay, Muhaini, can you tell me a little bit of how Kiddocare works? So, Babysitters Anytime, Anywhere. It's an app, it's an online platform as well that you go in, and as a parent, you're looking for a babysitter in a rush or you're in a pinch. What then happens? How does the process work?
Okay, so basically, you have to download our app. We are now on Google Store and Apple Store. You download the app. You download the app, and then you register. It's the same concept like when you want to use Grab. You have to register, put in your name, your IC, particulars, nationality, all the important stuff, right? So once you've registered into our system, and then you place the booking, yeah, you place the booking, and the details that you have to place obviously will be the date, the time, the venue. When we say anywhere, it's according to your location. So the client, it doesn't. Most majority of the time, the caring will be done at the house, at the client's house. But we do
Okay.
have people making booking, bringing the kids to the office or to the hotel. Yeah, you key in all these details: the date, the time, the venue, and how many children you have. And we want to know the age of your children, and important things like the medical condition of your children, because as you know, sometimes kids, if they're autistic, so we will actually match you with a carer that is trained to take care of an autistic kid. So it's very important. It's a matching platform. Kiddocare connects parents with trained and security vetted babysitters, but it's a matching platform. We match the babysitter according to the parents' requirements.
Oh,
So you
brilliant.
place
Okay.
the booking, yeah. So you place the booking, and then after that, once the system has received it, it will source and find a babysitter. Find a babysitter. The babysitter will get on their end. They will receive the notification of the booking, and if they are interested to do the job, they will click accept. Once that's done, the profile of the babysitter will be shared with the clients. So the clients will actually, it's not like Grab, when you make a booking,
You don't know, right?
you just, the driver accepts and that's it. But for us, how we work is we will share the profile of the babysitter first with the client. The client can choose to accept or reject. If they reject, they can request and say like, can you give me another profile? Okay, so once let's say the client approves of the profile of the babysitter, then we will send the payment link. You make
Okay.
payment, and then we connect you with the babysitter. That's how it works.
Okay, I have a question about who the babysitters are. So it seems quite clear this is, a service. It's addressing a gap in the childcare market for parents, complementary, giving parents an option. But let's talk about the babysitters. Who are the babysitters, and how do you find them, and how do you match them to the parents?
Okay, all our babysitters are Malaysian women. That's the first, that's the most important thing, Malaysian women. And I'll tell you why shortly. Malaysian women, minimum age is 18 years old until 60 years old, 60. Okay. The reason why we only take Malaysian women to our system is because we do security vetting and background check. Okay, I think this is very, very important. Okay, I know, I know a lot of parents are happy that we actually do this, the vetting process, because obviously, we are talking about taking care of children. Obviously, we do not want to send someone with a criminal record or somebody, that has a past history of committing a crime to take care of our children. So the first step is security vetting. So Malaysian women, 18 to 60 years old, security vetted, medical, and they are fit, they're healthy because they have to pass the medical test. Because obviously, you're taking care of children, we don't want someone with infectious diseases to take care of our children, to take care of children. So once they've passed all this, we will train them. they need to undergo our basic childcare training. On top of that, we also give CPR and safety aid training. So they are all childcare trained, CPR and safety aid certified. We have our in-house trainers who actually trains all these women to be certified. And then we go to the next stage, which is psychometric assessment. This is important because, we want to monitor their mental health state.
Right.
Yeah. Because sometimes, like when you hear all these abuse cases that happen, it's not because they're not trained. Most of them have the basic childcare training, but sometimes, anything can happen. You got a divorce from your husband or somebody died and you're just not mentally stable. So
Right.
we do psychometric assessment. We assess our babysitters from time to time to make sure that they're okay.
Okay, so to make sure that they are in the right frame
State
of
of mind.
mind, the right mental state to take
Yes.
care of your children. Okay, brilliant. Muhaini, we're going to take a quick break on the show. We're going to come back and continue this conversation. Still lots to cover about the issue of childcare in Malaysia. Stay tuned to The Future is Female. We will be right back. Hi, welcome back to The Future's Female. I am Melisa Idris and I'm chatting today to Muhaini Mahmud. She is the co-founder of Kiddocare. We're learning a little bit about how Kiddocare works, particularly the vetting and the training process for the babysitters who are on the platform. This is, as the tagline says, babysitters anytime, anywhere. So Muhaini, I want to ask you about starting the business just before the pandemic and then kind of going through the pandemic, the world pre-pandemic and now, as even though we are transitioning to an endemicity phase, it's different. Childcare is different. The burden of childcare is different. The way people work and think about work and are working from home is also different. Can I ask you about the growth of the company and of you and your co-founder in this company? How has the business changed and evolved to tailor to some of those changing childcare needs that parents now in this era need?
When we first started in 2018, we only had 6 people in our team. 6. So 4 years down the line, now we have about 30. Bear in mind, our babysitters are not our permanent staff. They're gig economy workers. I'm talking about permanent staff. So internally, we have grown. And the reason why is because we had to hire more people due to the increasing number of demands that we've been getting. Obviously, initially, when we first started, people were still skeptical about our business. I think Malaysians are used to the old model of babysitting. Everyone's used to having a bibit, a live-in bibit, Indonesian or Filipino who lives in with you, and suddenly Kiddocare comes along, comes up with this new business model. Some stranger comes to your house to take care of your children for a few hours and she leaves, and then the next time another woman comes. It was something new, so people were skeptical. So initially it was really difficult for us to convince people to use our service. But alhamdulillah, I have to say that I always believe if you do something good, you do your very best, and then later on it just became word of mouth. Like that's how we grew. Word of mouth. One person will use the service and they will tell the family members or the friends, and then honestly, that's part of our growth. I would like to thank all our customers. They really contributed.
Was it difficult operating during lockdown, during the pandemic? I can imagine during the height of the pandemic, were you allowed to provide service to go into
We
homes?
were providing, yes, we were
Right.
providing, especially the first MCO, because all schools were shut down. All Tasca, everything was shut down.
Mm.
But some people still had to work, especially the frontliners, right? The frontliners, they had to go to work. who's going to take care of their children? They cannot send their children to schools. So we were providing our service during the pandemic. Um, and I would like to add, during the first MCO, we actually worked with this one NGO called Project Wawasan Rakyat. They were very kind. We did a collaboration with them. So at that time, we did crowdfunding. We collected money from the public, and people were contributing. They were subsidizing the childcare for all the frontliners to use our service. So, for example, let's say we charge 8 hours, 150 ringgit. 8 hours for 150 ringgit. So, it's a bit unfair to ask the doctors or nurses to pay 150 ringgit a day. MCO, the first MCO was 3 months, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was a while. I have to say, Muhaini, that was how I first heard about Kiddocare, was your efforts to provide childcare for frontliners who had to work while we were all hunkered down at home and they were on the front lines, but they had no options for childcare. And I remember,
They were
yes,
using our service, and thank you. I mean, we to this NGO, and everyone, everyone who contributed to this fund, the frontliners ended up paying only 10%. 10%, 90%, it was covered by this the money that was collected. And so yeah, we were still running our service. We served a few hospitals, and I can't remember the numbers now, but I know we served a few hospitals and a lot of doctors and nurses during MCO. So yes, we were still operating, and I'm
that's
so thankful, because I know a lot of businesses, had to shut down during MCO. So I'm really glad that we were still running our operations during.
well. I hope that highlights that childcare is an essential service. It's we often forget about that, but again, childcare allows for parents to be able to go to work. And I want to ask you about this, Muhaini, because anecdotally, a lot has been said about how childcare, or the availability and the affordability of childcare, how that influences a mother's decision to remain in the labor force. And I'm sure there's research and data to back this up as well. But what have you observed in your line of work? Do you speak to mothers, and how does the childcare availability of childcare affect their decisions to remain in the workforce?
It's really sad because a lot of mothers, they actually leave their profession, due to they don't have childcare support. And we're talking about professional women, qualified professional women. They were excelling in where they used to work, but they had to quit their job for due to childcare problems. And we have a lot of them using our service at the moment. And I mean, it's nice to know a lot of them say like, thank you for existing, because some of them are actually back in the workforce.
And what about the women who are babysitters? Because it works both ways. You're
Yes.
providing mothers, or parents and mothers, the opportunity the option to remain in the workforce while there's childcare providers taking care of their children. But also, you're providing a job opportunity. Tell us about the women who are the babysitters.
Okay.
Do they find this an opportunity for meaningful work?
Obviously, because the level of flexibility that we offer, also means, I mean, the babysitters, most of them, they join us because they love the flexibility. Okay, they can choose which job, which client they want to work with, because there's no fixed period of time. It's not a 9 to 5 job. They can be anywhere the client wants them to be at any time. So this works for them because they all have their own objectives. Those who want more income opportunities will find this to be a very good source of flexible income. And believe it or not, most of our babysitters, do you know how much they earn on average? 2,000 to 3,500 a month, which is pretty good, because I do get a lot of them telling us that when they work in the Tasca, they only earn like, some of them earn less than the minimum
Oh.
wage. Yeah. So it's quite hard, living, especially if you're living in the Klang Valley with that, income. So it helps. So some of them they do this part time, so they have their day to day job and they do part time with us. So it's good to know that. And I have to add, we have a lot of women who are B40. When they first joined us, they were B40 women, B40. But now they're M40, the lower M40. They used to earn below 1,000 before they joined us. And now, they're sharing. We have a lot of success stories from the women who are in our system. They like to share. Sometimes they just send a WhatsApp, thank you. Now I can, they'll send us a picture of their motorcycle. Some of them, down payment, buying a house, buying a flat. So we have a lot of success stories from all the women who join. It's really a good source of income. Like I said, they earn between 2,500 to 3,500.
And how do you often recruit? Is it word of mouth? Do you advertise? Do you do social media? Do you leverage that
So
platform as well?
majority of them are those with ECE background. ECE is early childhood education. So we do go to a lot of colleges. We do a lot of collaborations with colleges and universities that offer ECE. So majority of them are ECE graduates. So they come into our system. But we also do take women from other background. These women probably studied psychology or hotel management, just name it. We have a lot. We even have someone with a law degree joining us. And when we ask her why, she said, I just love children.
Oh,
I just love
okay.
children. So, but regardless of your background, when you want to come into our platform, it's compulsory for you to still undergo the childcare training CPR safety aid. So
Okay.
different backgrounds. So majority are students. We also do have a lot of P40 women, single mothers. And during the MCO, surprisingly, we had a lot of women who lost their jobs during MCO. We had a lot of cabin crew, air crew, a lot of people from the hotel industry because some hotels shut down.
Mm.
So they join us. They join us, and
Okay.
clients love them. Anyone in the hospitality industry,
Yeah.
you don't take it doesn't take much to train them. You just give them the basic childcare training, but in terms of personality, they already have it.
Right. And okay, so we've got a couple of minutes left, Muhaini. I want to ask you what the plans are for the future. You said that the company has grown significantly in the past few years, but what's that next step? What are you looking for next?
Obviously expansion, because at the moment we are only in major cities in Malaysia. Mostly we're in Klang Valley, we're in Seremban, we're in Johor Bahru, some parts of Penang and Alor Setar. We would like to cover more major cities in Malaysia. So that's in the pipeline, expansion. In terms of women empowerment, we're all for it. We obviously empowering women means giving them financially and intellectually independent in their choices. So Kiddocare, was built. The idea of Kiddocare was built as a support system for families so that women can empower themselves to generate income. So what else? Expansion. Major cities in Malaysia. We also have plans. We have some people are also approaching us from Indonesia and Philippines. So
Wow.
we might expand to Southeast Asia also.
Well, there you go. Big plans ahead. I wish I wish you all the best, Muhaini. Thank you so much for
Thank
speaking
you
Thank
with me
so
you.
today.
much.
It's been such a pleasure. That was my conversation with Muhaini Mahmud, the co-founder of Kiddocare, and that wraps up this episode of The Future's Female. I will be back with you at same time next week for a fresh episode. Till then, I'm Melisa Idris signing off. Good night.